right into it and it attaches to your rear view mirror. So if you have a rear view mirror, this is for you. You don't have to worry about trying to attach it to your vent or your cup holder.
Move? Choose Pods, the most awarded container moving company. Pods brings the container to you, then we'll take it to your new home. It's just different.
What up, guys? What it do? I'm working from home right now. I'm doing a mandated seminar for a mandated reporter for child abuse. So we just did a Zoom meeting. We're on break right now. A little 10-minute break. Figure it out.
For your patience. I appreciate you. You'll still get out on time. All right, let's get into General Protective Services. So we talked a little bit about General Protective Services, and that these are services that exist to prevent the potential for harm to a child. They exist in state regulations, Chapter 34 and 90. And children who are abused, or this is Pennsylvania's definition of neglect, if you will, not abuse, but neglect, they are entitled to the same services as an abused child. We talked about GPSs require an assessment for services and supports. In these cases, the alleged act or failure to act does not rise to the definitions of abuse that we just went over. So we look at what is the potential for harm. It is something that is likely, if permitted to continue, it could have a detrimental effect on the child. The purpose of a GPS is to protect the safety, rights, and welfare of children so that they have an opportunity for healthy growth and development. And the idea is that parents aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and therefore there's supports and services in place to help parents recognize and correct whatever they are doing so their children are not at risk. In state regulation, the program objectives are carried out within the context of the Child Protective Services Law. And you can see here, it looks a little bit like that ASPA objectives, Adoption Safe Families Act objectives. And so the idea here is to keep children in their own homes. We talked about the importance of the family, prevent abuse and neglect through their supports and services, help overcome problems that may result in dependency, right? Food insecurities, inadequate housing, provide substitute care for children who have to be removed from their homes, reunite them with their families if possible, and then if not possible, move them potentially to adoption or place with the permanent legal custodian or fit and willing relative. So this is one of the biggest questions that, a lot of mandated reporters have. Like,
Yo, good morning.
Why is it my job to figure out what to report or what not to report?
Yeah, you guys at work with me right now.
If a concern does not rise to the level of suspected child abuse can be addressed or corrected by you. Did I see someone with the food pantry or something? If, for example, a person has food insecurity and your agency, that's what you do, there's no need to call children and youth if there's food insecurity. Now, if a child is emaciated, that may be another issue, right?
Mhm.
But, and the parent willfully did not give them food, that's abuse. But based on the parent maybe having food insecurity, a lack of food, that is not abuse. And so there may be no need to report it, right, to Childline. Some non-abuse concerns should be reported because there's a clear need for potential of harm to a child that needs CYS involvement. So you've got that child losing weight because of food insecurity, not due to the parent unwilling to do it, but they just don't have the capacity to do it. You need to have GPS concerns. Now the child may need medical concerns, medical attention. All right. We talked about services that an abused child is entitled to. These are the services that a non-abused child is also can also receive as well. Children need to do an assessment. We talk about an assessment for GPS. They do an assessment. It's like 60 days to do an assessment. And it must, at the end of their assessment, they must notify the parent and let them know the decision to whether accept the family for services, open up a case, or not. They have to provide a written notice. Also, if they accept them for services, they have to let them know you have the right to appeal within 45 days of receiving the agency's decision. When a child and family have been accepted for services, they open a case. Then they must develop what's called a case plan or a family service plan, where they outline the goal, usually the federal goal or concurrent goal as well, objectives, and the task to complete the objectives. And that those objectives and tasks determine who's responsible. Maybe you, a private provider, children and youth agency, the children, the parents. It talks about what they need to do and by when. Services will continue if the court's involved, right? So every time they go to court with the case, the judge is always going to ask, are they making significant progress on their plan in completing their objectives and making sure the child is safe? Services will continue until the child is determined to be safe, the risk of harm is minimized, and all the objectives in this case plan have been accomplished. Questions at all?
Nope. No question.
Okay. So when we think about the essentials of life, these are the essentials of life, right? And we're going to look at these necessities,
clothing, food,
that must be assessed as though along a continuum. If you think of the far left-hand side of the continuum,
protection from
a parent is doing adequate control. They don't have to have a fridge full of food, but there needs to be some food in the fridge where they're eating, right? And so they're doing adequate control. Kids are going to school. They're not wearing designer clothes, but they're wearing clothes that are fitting. Adequate care, right? As the level, so there's no need to refer the family to nowhere. As the level of risk increases now, but you know what? I lost my job. Now I don't have the money to buy food, right? Utilities aren't being paid. So as the level of risk increases, the likelihood of the situation becoming a GPS concern also rises. I may need services to help me with my utilities. I may need services to help me with finding employment. When a situation reaches the highest end of the continuum, the far right, some situations will result in that situation becoming serious physical neglect, which is a type of abuse that we just saw, right? 60.5% of the substantiated type of abuse allegations, right? And so when we think of each of these, let's look at them as along a continuum, right? So we think of food. The failure to provide food includes not only those situations where there's no food in the home, but also includes inadequate nutrition, right? And we know that an adequate diet is necessary for a child to grow up in a healthy way, right? When nutritional needs are not met, children then are going to be chronically hungry. They may steal food. They may be often hungry. And then two, for children with discrete nutritional needs, like maybe they have juvenile diabetes, or there's like severe allergies. Whose job is it to make sure that all that's taken care of? The parent, right? And so they want to be careful that they don't give the improper nutrition, or the child doesn't receive improper nutrition that could aggravate their condition or cause other negative situations, right? Or negative reactions. When nutritional needs remain unmet, a child may ultimately suffer from malnutrition or failure to thrive, which is serious physical neglect, which is a type of child abuse, which would mean it needs to be reported by you immediately. The key to determining whether or not adequate food is being provided is to evaluate whether or not the lack of nutritional food is having a detrimental effect on the child. When we look at shelter, shelter is the failure to provide shelter that can range from having no shelter to living in an unsafe shelter. Homelessness is the ultimate failure to provide shelter and includes living on the streets in a tent or in a car, for example. Unsafe shelter includes housing that is in hazardous disrepair, creating serious safety concerns, and such repair can include exposed wiring, holes in the floor. Unsafe shelter can also include housing that is so filthy, 10, 15, 20, 50 cats, 50 dogs, feces all over the floor, urine smells all over the floor, right? And so it's so infested that it can have serious health concerns for the children in the home. So when deciding whether or not adequate shelter is being provided, and someone mentioned this earlier, you're looking at, someone mentioned hoarding, right? A couple things need to be considered. What is specifically wrong with the shelter? And then the age or level of functioning of the child. Let's think about hoarding. And I saw this one show, I couldn't watch it again, sorry. One show called Hoarders, I think it is. I mean, and there was so much in the house that the folks are standing outside because they couldn't get the hell in the house. And so that is attached to kind of a mental health, whether there was scarcity, a mindset of scarceness when they were younger, or deprivation, or what have you. So there's serious health, there's mental health concerns with that. You may have a 15-year-old who's otherwise capable, developmentally able, navigate through it all. But can a 10-month-old learning how to walk, can they navigate with that? So maybe at a hoarding, for example, serious hoarding may be a higher risk to younger children than those who are older. When we think of clothing, right, failure to provide clothing includes situations in which a child is repeatedly undressed for the weather. You know, we had some really cold days this past winter.
Wendy, you have to, I'm pretty sure you have to have something like this, mandated reporter training where
right, so parents are
if you suspect that a child is being harmed or abused or anything like, you have to let somebody know.
Sunburn,
and
or
that's
whether it could be
like, I think ours is every 3 years. So I have to just do this again. And since I work with kids, I have to have the FBI check my fingerprints
and so,
every 5 years.
For a child, it could cause
and I think I got to get that done next year. I think my fingerprints are going to run out next year.
When the lack of something results in
but doing this because I work around kids,
that child,
and they just want to make sure that we are aware of all the signs,
let's come
and
back
how to go about handling certain situations, the contact,
these kids
and
out
then
here
also
in the streets,
we're not
lack of
a threat
supervision.
to the
What's
kids
Pennsylvania's
ourselves.
age where a child needs to be supervised? Anyone know?
Under 13.
What age can you be left home alone?
Oh, 13. Or it might be 11.
13. Got a couple coming in.
12. Somebody said 12.
Okay.
Somebody said 11. Somebody else
Where's
said
Travis?
13.
Where's Zach? Zach, what'd you say? Zach's like 13.
13. I said 13.
All right, so
I was the last.
failure to provide proper supervision occurs when a child is left unsupervised or inadequately supervised for inappropriate periods of time. In Pennsylvania, there is no law that establishes an age under which a child is too young to be left home alone. There is no age in Pennsylvania. But what are you going to consider when leaving a child home alone, not supervised? What you going to consider? You're a latchkey kid. Me too. I remember what? Oh my God, we were in like this little Catholic grade school, my brother and I in Harrisburg, and we had to walk. It had to be 2 miles home, and we were in grade school. We just called my mom when we got home. That was it. Yeah. So what do you want to consider before leaving a child home alone, unsupervised? What are you going to consider?
Their individual I don't know. Just
any thoughts?
Their own abilities.
Maturity.
Yeah,
basic
maturity.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Age. Mature. You can be 16 and immature, or 16 with an intellectual disability or physical disability, require you to have constant supervision, right? Any special health concerns for that child? The length of time, right? Yep. The length of time. That's right. Suzette, Zachary, Travis, thank you. The length of time that they're left home alone. What's the access to family? Absolutely. Oh, Brian, you're listed as the host and panels for your answers. Just switch it back to everyone. Right. All right. Any parents they always got in trouble when they were home alone? If, as the result of the lack of proper supervision, a serious physical condition that endangers a child's life or development or impairs the child's functioning arises, the situation.
It was 7, the latchkey kid, but that's why I had to put that in there. I was like, I'm a latchkey kid, LOL. She was like, I was too. Like,
talk about
bro, like you say, we walking home from elementary, a mile, 2 miles.
6 parents had 6 and 3-year-old
and then
sons.
You go home.
And the father.
And you're home by yourself.
The boy's home alone, 8 o'clock at night, pick up his wife. And there's no age in Pennsylvania.
No, not about to reboot
they were
my
sleeping,
computer. Not
you know,
in
they want to wake him up.
Remind me later.
This one day, he went to pick up his wife from work. And when he got back home, the street was blocked where his home was located. First responders were there, dealing with a fire. He didn't know it was his home. When he found out the home that was on fire was his, and both his boys were in the fire. They were considered near fatalities at first. They were serious critical condition, and they then died from their injuries. The egregious failure to supervise comes under the abuse piece here. And so lack of supervision, that may not have been appropriate. However, this time the boys had no way of knowing how. They couldn't get out. Okay. Let's look at healthcare. Healthcare includes medical, dental, vision, and mental health care. And so failure to provide health care includes situations in which a parent or caregiver fails to provide the necessary health care in accordance with recommendations by the dentist or the physician for a physical injury, illness, or medical or dental condition or impairment. When a serious physical condition is the result of the failure to provide health care, then the situation rises to the level of suspected abuse. For example, let me ask a question. I mentioned earlier, my daughter's 31. And she never had a cavity in all her childhood years. Orthodontia, and that's it. Never had a cavity. Would I be an abuser if I never took her to the dentist? What do you all think? She never had a cavity, never complained, never had a cavity. What do you think?
Would you, if she never had a cavity? I don't think so.
Any thoughts? I never took her to the dentist. She never had a cavity. No, thank you, Brandy Lee. Brandy's like, I'm not calling on you. Thank you for not calling Childline on me, Brandy Lee. Yeah, so no, right? Plus she's an adult now anyway. But no, it would not be, right? Parents who do not take their children for the recommended periodic examinations would not warrant the intervention of children and youth if they never took their child to the dentist. They wouldn't. Now, if the child had cavities,
and complaining about
now
pain.
I know because I have plenty of them. they don't go away. You may wish them to go away, but they never go away. They get worse, right? So we know that. It's a condition. It's a dental condition. And so now we've got a cavity. So so the child needs some intervention, right, to prevent whatever. So numerous cavities need dental treatment. It would be appropriate for general protective services, right? If a child is left unchecked, that those cavities, now if the child complains these cavities have gotten worse, we have an abscess tooth, and the caregiver is unwilling to take the child to the dentist for dental care. Now you've got the abscess tooth, you've got infection, it's pain, impacts upon the child's ability to eat and sleep. That then warrants dental abuse. Does that make sense? Because due to the parent's failure to provide dental treatment may have resulted in the serious physical condition of that child. The failure to provide health care also includes the failure to provide for mental health treatment of that child. A child may need mental health treatment due to a mental illness or disability. That could warrant a GPS, because some intervention needs to happen before it gets worse, right? Okay. Same with vision. Dental vision. Yeah. Healthcare. And vision. Okay. And then we have education. We said this earlier, I think. Education, failure to provide education is required by law, includes situations in which a child is not registered in school beyond the compulsory school age of 6. Okay. Or they drop out. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Yeah. Any questions on the essentials of life? Kind of when they are abused. And we talked about GPSs for the lack of these things, lack of the essentials could warrant a GPS. If a condition results as a result of the lack of these essentials, now you have serious physical neglect, a type of child abuse. All right. And we went over some of these when we talk about red flags, like how would I know? These are red flags. We said these earlier for child abuse. And again, the law says you have reasonable cause to suspect. When you see some of these red flags, some indicators, as you know, are more apparent than others, right? Depending on the type of abuse.
There's no excuse not to do.
And depending on the child's health and development and functioning or their well-being, right? As well as maybe physically visible on the child. Bruises are like the easiest thing sometimes, right? But sometimes other behaviors you may not know. A couple of you mentioned hyper-exaggerated startle response, like flinching, or sexual promiscuity. Some of these things like, oh, okay. But we tend to sometimes rationalize these indicators, right? And so these can be used as a basis for reporting concerns related to child safety, health, and well-being that may not rise to a level of suspected abuse. And we'll look at those in a second. Parent indicators. You might see some of these reactions of a parent, which could indicate suspected abuse. And together, behaviorally, vis-a-vis each other, you may see some of these indicators. When we're thinking about neglect, right, these are some indicators that might suggest that you may want to consider they're being neglected, frequently absent from school. They're begging or stealing, right? Again, these are all these essentials of life where they're lacking these. They've got severe body odor. Child substance use disorder is a GPS, one of those 23 valid concerns out of 91,117 valid concerns. That's one of them for a child. And of course, we got lack of supervision. And then for the parent, these are some of the indicators that suggest they're neglecting their children. They might be. Now, you can use drugs all day long. They certainly have a different smell. I think it's one of the words is called strong. We used to just call it reefer back in the day. And so it's a whole different smell now. So you can use drugs all day long if you want. But when you have children, what's going to be looked at is how is that negatively impacting upon the care of your child? If you're buzzed out hot all day long, you've got a toddler, you're neglecting your toddler at that point based on your behaviors. Any questions on this? Okay. All All right, let's now talk about poverty and child welfare. We'll look at this this quote. There's a fine line between parental neglect of children and societal neglect of families. The definition we're going to look at today is absolute, having less than an objectively defined absolute minimum of, like we talked about, other basic needs like water, shelter, medical care, food, for example. And when we look at the trends, right, Pennsylvania is similar or slightly lower than the national average for low-income families and children in poverty and deep poverty. Children below 100% of the threshold are considered to be in poverty, and those below 50% of the threshold are considered to be in deep poverty. And you can see here, it shows that poverty is, as you know, prevalent. And we got a lot of rural areas and even urban areas where poverty is prevalent. And it could be, some of the families, children you're dealing with, on a daily basis may be experiencing poverty. When we think about the causes, what do you think? Put it in the chat. What do you think are some of the causes of poverty? What do you think? Okay, loss of a job. Okay, thank you, Brandy Lee. Lack of support. Yeah. Good. What else? Okay. Sickness. Unemployment. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to add? Very good. Yeah. Thank you for your thoughts. Because how we think of poverty can impact upon what we do about it. Right. So these two extremes, we got on the left-hand side, my left-hand side, learned behavior, right? That thinking that poverty is rooted in that individual. They're lazy. They don't want to work. Believe that there's something innate in that person, and they are the ones to blame for their lot in life. Then you look at the far right on my side, where it's thinking that poverty is rooted in society, and therefore believing that societal structures and discriminations are solely to blame for the poverty. Welfare is kind of somewhere in the middle. And we think about poverty. We may have, anyone mentioned that intergenerational poverty? And so experiencing poverty does not mean that there is or will be neglect. And so this poverty conundrum and the child maltreatment prevention, child welfare professionals need to be able to distinguish between poverty and neglect to make informed decisions and provide the best support to children and families. Right. Jerry Milner and David Kelly in 2022 pointed out poverty is not neglect. Poverty is rarely a willful attempt to deny children their basic needs. Poverty is not a reason to remove children from their parents. The availability of a financial better relative or foster family is not a reason to separate children from their parents or keep them separated, right? And so poverty is not neglect, but you may have people who are in poverty and that can't win dilemma, that intergenerational poverty where systems may keep that family where they are and they can't get out of poverty and can't provide for their children like they would want to. When we think about the intersectionality of those families who are experiencing poverty, right? There is an intersectionality of that where, children who experience poverty often are involved in the social services, right? Whether it's healthcare, whether it is schools, right? Or social services, right? There's some, and those are all mandated reporters. And so depending on that mandated reporter, that first responder, their view of poverty can impact upon what they report or what they don't report, right? Okay. But a large percent of the families in poverty are in the child welfare system. Okay. But because they're in poverty, doesn't mean that they are maltreating
or neglecting their kids.
Right.
You just poor.
It doesn't mean that. It means that poverty can make it more difficult, more challenging for parents to meet their children's needs. Right. And there's a difference between unwilling and unable. There's incapacity, right? Unable. Unwilling is intentional. I have it, but I'm not going to give it, right? I'm not going to do it. I know, but I'm not doing anything about it, right? Any comments or questions on this before I move on? Okay. And this can impact upon sort of our bias, right? About how we think about, people who are living in poverty. What are our thoughts on it? You could do better. You're just not trying. Or is it systematic or systemic issues that they can't and they want to? How we currently address poverty and child maltreatment? How do we, right? Yes, economic safety net has not been traditionally viewed as a preventive tool. Prevention work often includes referring families to other systems or other mandated reports, and they get reported on again. Prevention programs that attempt to address economic needs tend to use a case-by-case basis, as opposed to providing concrete needs like housing, like food, right? Those are concrete needs. Employment opportunities. That's what folks need who are living in poverty. And so what can we do? You may have that cycle of poverty where there's poor, as a couple of you mentioned, poor the job market now, I understand sucks. Is like woefully deficient. I mean, it's hard, right? So you may have, someone mentioned, I think, poor job opportunities, low job mobility, lack of transportation, limited access to grocery stores or markets with healthy food, right? And that's where you may get that intergenerational poverty where it may continue into adulthood and successive generations. Underfunded schools and fewer resources, inadequate facilities, right? Lack of stable and safe housing. And so the idea again is to provide concrete needs, remove the stigma of asking for help, right? Okay. Any questions on the poverty piece?
No, I've been poor most of my life. Okay. I understand it pretty well.
And this can lead into our implicit bias. You may think it's all good. I understand people can't, but you come across a family where the house may be inadequate, kids are inadequately clothed, not a lot of food, parents aren't around. And and think about your bias then. Does it kick in? Right? Do you blame the parent for not doing what's going on?
Trust me, I know what
let's talk about our implicit bias. It's defined as when we have attitudes toward people or associate stereotypes with them without our conscious knowledge. And it can impact, I think we said earlier, it can impact who and when we decide to make reports of child neglect. 4 main types of implicit bias. We already talked about poverty bias. How we view it can impact upon what we may report as neglect. How we think of neglect, is it unwilling or unable? We're going to talk about race bias now. And so,
because these niggas
bias can impact what we decide to report or not report, especially when it comes to child neglect. And it has a disproportionate impact on certain groups of children and families. There's an example. For example, this is a true story. Let's say a fluent child comes from a fluent background versus a child living in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Both children arrive at school with a roach crawling out of their backs, with a roach crawling out of their backpack. With the affluent child, let's say the teacher may assume, oh, you know what? They got the money. It's going to be handled. It's a one-off thing. No need to call anybody. No interventions needed. I know they got it. Versus a child, and you may call the parent and say, hey, almost apologetically, I saw this bug crawling out of your child's backpack. I just want to let you know, no call to Childline or Children and Youth. Versus a child in poverty, same situation. It's a roach. May be no call to the parent, straight call to Children and Youth, because the assumption might be there's a lack of caring, and it may be assumed that the home is overrun with roaches, right? And they can't afford to get anyone in to handle the situation, resulting in immediate contact with Childline or Children and Youth. I love this saying by Ice Cube, take it back to 1993, was it? Where his song was, the title of his lyrics was "Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself."
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like, be aware of, before you start making that phone call to Childline or Children and Youth, just kind of be self-aware, right? And aware of your own biases. Hard for implicit because you don't know that they exist, but your behaviors and your actions and your thoughts can impact upon what you do based on your bias. And so systemic racist policies and practices, both historic and current, mean that some marginalized communities experience poverty at a disproportionate rate due to biases, stigma, and stereotypes present throughout history and modern policies and practices. And so now, as you look at this slide, Pennsylvania did a racial equity report in 2021. And so nationally, the overrepresentation of Black children in child welfare system has been well documented across numerous research studies. Understanding the impact of racial disparity in the child welfare system requires recognition of the points at which bias can enter the system and how inequities at each point can impact the trajectory of children and families.
Oh yeah, we definitely got a lot of food banks and
racial disparity can often be found at the very point where families often first come into contact with the child welfare system. And in Pennsylvania, there are significant racial disparities in the number of suspected child abuse and neglect reports that are received by the county children's youth agencies and Childline. Notably, Black children make up 14% of the total child population in Pennsylvania, but represent 21% of the potential victims of child abuse and Child Protective Services report. What does that mean? More mandated reporters, more people are reporting our children of color, Black children in particular, and then Hispanic children, Native American children, before white children. Once Black children become known to the child welfare system, they are more likely to enter foster care and stay in foster care longer than white children, first in, last out. Currently, 35% of children in foster care are Black, and Black children represent 42% of the children who have been in foster care for 2 years or more. And so given the trauma, we talked about the importance of family and children not being separated from their families. Given the trauma that children can experience when separated from their families and the impact such trauma can have on social, economic, and health outcomes, racial disparities in placement rates can have long-lasting effects that are detrimental to the well-being of Black children and their families.
Had to bring the race into that shit. You don't never leave that
and so, what can be done? And so, Pennsylvania child welfare system, again, is state supervised, county administered. And so there needs to be a practice change, right? Agency change and implemented in coordination with a lot of different other agencies and staff, other stakeholders, private provider partners. Caseworkers working directly supporting families need to have a working understanding of the interrelationship of racism, trauma, and the inherent bias that may arise in their work. Conversations need to extend beyond child welfare and go to the local courts as well, and other agencies and systems that interact, or educational systems that interact with these families. You may want to learn about your own implicit bias. I know Harvard has, I think it's harvard.edu/take a test or something like that, where it has like, I think 23 different tests that can test you on different biases that you might have, right? But families need concrete reports. If they're unable, they may need concrete support. right? As opposed to being called into the system immediately. And so you may think about, would it matter if it was on a mom, right? Do we just think that moms automatically care for their children or not? Or if it was a dad, would that impact upon us calling, right? Making a report? Or if a different socioeconomic status or family of a different race, right? So you want to kind of self-examine, the reports that we do call in. Any comments or questions on that as I move to our last section? Okay. Let's move to our last section. All right. Let's talk about the reporting process. There's two types of reporters: permissive and mandated, right? People who are encouraged to report but not by law mandated, or agency mandated. So they can be more restrictive, not less. And so mandated reporter are adults, 18 years of age or older, and they're required to report because they have direct contact with children through their employment, religion, program, activity, service. They volunteer with children or based on their profession, right? They may be Act 31. And so there's certain professions that the law says they're mandated reporters, and they're required to take this training every 2 years. And these are people under Act 31. Let me know if I've been here under Act 31. These are people with a health-related license, but by merely their licensure, they are mandated reporters whether they interact with children or not. And these are people, health-related license, that are required to get their licensure through the Department of State. And they are dentists, nurses, marriage and family therapists, social workers, professional counselors, nurses, occupational therapists, physical therapists, psychologists, funeral directors, chiropractors, pharmacists, doctors of osteopathic medicine, medical doctors, podiatrists, examiners of speech, language, and hearing, nursing home administrators. These are folk who are health-related licensure, Act 31, and they're required to take this training regardless of their interaction with children. And then we have a medical examiner, coroner. Then we have employees of a healthcare facility that they do the admission and testing of individuals. And we have school employees, Act 48. Employees of child care services, they interact with children. And then you have employees of social service agencies, they interact with children. Public librarians, and they interact with children. A peace officer, like a crossing guard, for example, or a park ranger, or a law enforcement official. EMS, and they're licensed by the Department of Health. And then anyone that I just mentioned, and they supervise someone who has interaction with children, that person who they supervise and they interact with children, they are a mandated reporter as well. And then you have foster parents, and then you have attorneys who are if they're affiliated with an organization, whether it's mental health, drug and alcohol for children, whatever it is, they are mandated reporters. They just don't have to have interaction. They just don't have to have direct contact with children. Independent contractors as well. Okay. Let's talk about then, again, GPSs. So although GPS and CPS are both a part of the protective services and established under the same law, the CPSL, they're a little different. They're regulated under a different set of regulations. They're under the same regulation, 3490, but they're still a little different. And we talked about GPSs that don't rise to the level of suspected abuse. You can call Childline, or you can do nothing, or you can handle it yourselves, or call children and youth. Of course, when you have reasonable cause to suspect, you are legally required to report to Childline. Okay. When a county children's agency receives a report of suspected abuse, they're going to do that investigation immediately to within 24 hours, right? If they got a court order for emergency protective custody or protection from abuse order, they get out there immediately. Otherwise, the law says they have within 24 hours to begin their investigation. The GPS kind of depends on the level of risk right? And they can tell based on the phone call, whatever information you're giving, what's the level of risk. If it's high risk, for example, a 2-month-old not being supervised, that's high risk. They're going to dispatch somebody immediately to go do an assessment to find out what's going on in that home. Versus a 15-year-old where there's lack of supervision, that child's physically able, developmentally on target for 15-year-old, they'll still respond because it's a GPS concern. However, they could take up to 10 days. So they may get out for the 15-year-old 3 to 5 days. So they determine the immediacy or the time frame on a GPS. CPS in law says, yeah, within 24 hours. Okay. As a mandated reporter, you're making a report when you have reasonable cause to suspect under these 4 circumstances. It means you don't have to be out here reporting everything all the time. Under these 4 circumstances, you come into contact with the child in the course of what you do. Your occupation, your practice, your profession. You're a food service staff, cafeteria, school cafeteria, you provide a food service. You're a piano teacher, you provide a musical activity to a school, for example. Okay? You're a mandated reporter, and you're required to report. Here, you're directly responsible for the care of a child. School teachers, foster parents, where you volunteer. Excuse me, right? You suspect abuse, you're making a report to Childline immediately. This third bullet is like, this is your 24/7, where if someone tells you, they make a specific disclosure to you. Here,
I'm so ready to get back to this song.
God
damn.
You can get
30
this
more
information
minutes.
indirectly, right? Indirectly. Any one of these is indirectly. Indirectly, a person can come. You don't have to see the child right in front of you, right? It's indirect, right? One child can tell another child who tells your child about child A. You suspect abuse. You can identify that child because they go to the same school or they're your child's friend. You make that report at 6 o'clock at night, for example. This is 24/7, as long as someone tells you about it and you can identify that child. What makes a child identifiable? You can have Travis's name and not have the last name, or the last name and not have the first name, right? For the child. You can have a school address. You can have a home address. You can have the credit card. You can have a license plate number. What else? You can have their relationship to a known person. Some way to identify this child. But you don't have to have all the identifying information, but some way can lead them to locating where this child is. And then the fourth one talks about an individual 14 years of age or older. They're not saying, oh, you know what? Guess what, Miss Susanna? I abused this child, right? They're not telling you that because they probably aren't. But they're saying, I hit this kid so hard upside the head, it made his nose bleed, something like that. I don't know. And so if you suspect abuse, you've got this 14-year-old disclosing this to you. This really goes to perpetrator admission, because we talked about 2 categories where you can be a perpetrator at the age of 14 and older, right? So what do you have here? You got the alleged perpetrator's name, right? Because they're telling you about it. This is 24/7 as well. Both of these are 24 hours a day, potentially, where somebody's making a specific disclosure to you. All of these disclosures, what you see, these last 2, it takes it out of your work day or volunteer hours, takes it 24/7, as long as someone tells you and the child is identifiable. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue and talk about privileged communications in the law. So there's subject to confidential privileged communication between a doctor and their patient. We know there's confidentiality as well as with the therapist. But when it involves child abuse, right, it must be disclosed, must be reported. There's no confidentiality there. And then you have confidentiality with clergy, right? And so as long as it's done in the air, like a one-on-one or through for absolution or confession, you're not trying to confess yourself out there with a whole bunch of people, maybe not. But confidentiality is when it's a one-on-one and you're divulging information for the purpose of absolution or penance. It is confidential, and that clergy, priest, spiritual leader is never and cannot divulge that information if it's said in confidence. You've got confidentiality between attorney and their client, right? And yeah. All right. Making a report of suspected abuse, you should have some kind of reporting policy. At a minimum, have these pieces to it, right? Where you must report immediately. There's no time frame. Immediately, you can't find out something 8 o'clock in the morning. You'll make a report at 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, the child's gone home to the potential abuser. So it's immediate. They can be made 2 ways, orally or electronically. If you do a report, you call Childline. Here's the number. They're available 24/7. They give your information to a supervisor who analyzes it, classifies it as whatever kind of report it's going to be, GPS, CPS, and where it needs to be disseminated. They do all that. You have to do a follow written CY47. A CY47 can be found at keepkidssafe.pa.gov. You got to do that, email it, scan it, whatever, fax it. People fax anymore to Children and Youth Office in your area. Okay. Or it can be submitted electronically if you've got your credentials. Right. And your credentials are created at this website for this child welfare portal. It creates a dashboard. And it creates a dashboard and it has a list of all of your transactions that you've made. If you go away, save it, exit, like any other program, it's going to toggle you and let you know you've got a report that's outstanding. Okay, and it does mimic the CY47 form. There are several protections in place for a mandated reporter to safeguard you. You're removed from criminal and civil liability. We make report in good faith, right? Even if it's unfounded, you still made it in good faith. You've had this training before and you suspect abuse, right? Cooperate with the investigation, testify if it goes to court. You can take a photo of the injury or perform a medical test or x-ray and remove a child in accordance with the law. That's only like a person at the physician's assistant or physician at an urgent care. It can be done at the writing of the director, his or her or their designee in writing. And children and youth must obtain a court order, and police at a police station can remove a child in accordance with the law. Your name is confidential. Any identifying information about you, where you were, your name is confidential. People within child welfare, they're going to know because they're doing an investigation with the case. Police may know they consider you a confidential informant.
A snitch.
Real critical about having reasonable cause to suspect and reporting that which you're required to report. Because failing to report is not an option, right? If we look over here, what can get you a second-degree misdemeanor, which is a fine of up to $5,000 up to 2 years in prison if you don't report the first time. And then if the abuse of the child is a first-degree felony like rape or aggravated assault, and you don't report, third-degree felony for you, which is a fine of up to $15,000 up to 7 years in prison. For the second degree, 10 years in prison up to $25,000 in fines. And a subsequent and prior conviction, and you still are not out here reporting. So it's no joke. All right, people, I'm going to, as our time is moving along when you're having fun, I'm going to advance to our scenarios. There's like 7. I'm going to do about probably 5 scenarios, and I'm going to allow you to read it to yourselves. And you were going to put in the chat, when I call time and time only, don't influence other people. And I'm going to have you put your responses in. You can do, the question is, do you suspect abuse? Your response is yes or no. Yes, what category of abuse? And just no. Don't tell me if it's a GPS. That's not the question. So it's like, do you have reasonable cause to suspect? Yes or no? All right, I'm going to give you a little longer scenario. I'm going to give you 30 seconds on the clock. Let me get my timer. Okay, 30 seconds on the clock. I'm going to call begin, and when I say stop, stop, and then I'm going to say put your responses in the chat. Number 1, let's begin. 30 seconds on the clock. And stop. What do you have? Yes or no? Yes, what type? I'm expecting to see. I forgot to tell you, this is a requirement to complete this. So it shows that you have been attentive and that you are paying attention, you are responding and engaged. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think everyone's responded. Okay, I see people getting in there. So even though the daughter
I put yes, physical abuse
was not harmed, if dad had been more accurate with his aim, he missed, but he threw it with such intensity that it dented the wall, right?
And he drinking,
and so it would have hit her. It would have caused bodily injury. So this is, I see some of you were attempting to get at it. It is the creating a reasonable likelihood of bodily harm. All right, good. Let me do the next one. 15 seconds on the clock. Begin. And time. What do you have? Okay, Brian is correct. Given the totality of the known circumstances, there may be no reasonable cause to suspect that these children are victims of abuse. However, if you knew the child was emaciated, you knew the child maybe cut their hand based on a broken glass, for example, or mom was withholding food for punishment or whatever, but we don't know. So this could become a situation where there is reasonable cause to suspect if you learn these neglect concerns now have an impact to the children, right?
Well, the children have truancy issues. It says
the cut, for example. That's different. Remember,
the older
things have to happen as a result of the lack of something.
Truancy.
All right. This would be entitled. They would be entitled to some concrete,
services,
resources, for example. Yeah. Okay. All right. And what would you do? The most appropriate action would be to report to Childline or the County Children and Youth Agency directly if your agency is unable to address these situations. Something needs to be done to prevent harm to the children. All right, next one, about 7 minutes on this one.
7 minutes.
And yeah, okay, 7 minutes on this one. Hold on. Let me get started. This one. Oh, go ahead.
A 10-year-old boy in your program says he cannot play outside because his feet hurt. You notice that he's limping. The boy removes his shoes and socks and reveals 3 small circular burns on the soles of his feet.
All right. What do you all think?
Fresh look, burns, infecting his. Yes.
Wait, Brian, where'd you get sex trafficking? You looked at the other scenario, right? This is a scenario. Sorry about that. Okay, so there is reasonable cause to suspect abuse here, that the child's a victim of bodily injury. We've got burns on the soul. That's an unlikely, unreasonable place for burns to be. That suggests some intentionality, right? So circular burns, probably like cigarettes, on the bottom of the feet.
Now, burn feet.
And so for this, you make a report to Childline immediately. Yes. Let's look at the next one. 8 seconds on the clock. Begin.
This is 26-year-old Nancy. 3, another family reports that Nancy stuck home with long weeks on out for surgery. Shows and Lisa is frequently high. Yes.
All right. What do you have?
Neglect. Lisa is a 26-year-old mother of Nancy, age 3. Another family reports that Nancy was left home alone overnight when Lisa went out to search for drugs.
So while mom is committing a prolonged failure to supervise the child in a manner that's appropriate for Nancy's age. There's no indication that there's impairment or pain or an injury, right? Or developmental,
No, it's neglect though.
abilities have been thwarted. There's no reason, nothing. So this would not be suspected abuse, but something needs to be done, right? For Nancy to prevent harm to Nancy, right? So although there is not reasonable cause to suspect, the most appropriate action would be to report to Childline so something can be done, but it is not child abuse. All right, we'll do one more. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds on the clock. This is a little. Begin.
The training program does complain about a toothache. He called a mother who agrees to take the child to the dentist. Several weeks later, the child again comes to your office, and this time the tooth is obviously abscessed. You again call the mother, and she says she can't get a dental appointment. Tell the mother you will make an appointment for her daughter to receive free treatment through a dentist who works at your program. The next day, 3 days later, the child still has not received treatment, and this is persisting with fever and severe swelling. Yes. Did I freeze? What happened? Y'all got logged out just now. Everybody saying their screen is black.
I think you all are still there. So hold on. Let me get to give me a second. I gotta get back to, yeah, you are. Yeah, I lost connection. So hold on, let me see if I can get the screen back up. Slideshow. Hold on, I see it's sharing, I think. But it's sharing the slideshow. Play from current slide. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think I got on. Okay. Okay now. Oh, for the love of God. Okay. Anyway, what did we have? Did we do this one? Yeah, so let's do this one. I think unless you all saw, and I was out of it, so I've lost the other chat. Perfect. So did you answer this one? Let's do that one. Let's answer this one. Let's make sure that you all see desktop 2 sharing. Okay. Yeah, you see it now. Okay. All right. Yeah. And so, all right. So, yep, you see that. And so you can see where, yeah, this is serious physical neglect because, yeah, the child needed intervention and mom willfully did not handle it. All right, people. Okay. Let's go here. All right. Let's get ready to wrap up. I kind of talked about this before that the transmission, when you make a report to Childline, they're going to review it within the context of the Child Protective Service Law. Is there a perp under the CPSL? Is there an act or failure to act? And was it done intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly? They'll make that determination, right? Was it non-accidental? It's going to go to children and youth to be investigated. But if they determine it's a GPS, it's going to go to children and youth for an assessment of the family, right? Assessment for services. Or it could be a law enforcement only. You may have a person who is a cousin living outside the home. That will be law enforcement only because it doesn't qualify under the CPSL. All right. And then, so for investigation of reports, upon receipt of a report of suspected abuse, children and youth, child welfare professional needs to start that investigation within 24 hours. If there's an order of protection from abuse or emergency protective custody order for that child, they start immediately. Otherwise, the law says they have within 24 hours. When they go out and do the investigation, they have to make a determination of the safety or risk of harm to that child. They have to determine the nature surrounding what's going on with that child, any action necessary to provide for the safety for that child. They take photos for identification purposes. They may have to petition the court to take that child into protective custody as well. That child may need services from a hospital, right, for an injury or for mental health issues. And then so that's a part of the investigation of that report, making sure that child is safe. And getting the services that they need. Childline will send them any previous reports where there was substantiation of abuse. They make a final determination. They have 60 days to make a determination whether there's abuse or not. If it's an investigation, because Childline is always going to ask you who was the alleged perpetrator. If you say it was a teacher, or if it was a teacher or someone who worked at a at a child care service, like a group home or residential child care facility, that facility or that school need to put a plan of supervision in place, and they have to let the county children youth agency know how all children entrusted in the care of that school or child care service entity will be kept safe from that alleged perpetrator. That might be a one-on-one with that alleged perpetrator, or that might be in child care residential facilities or group homes, for example. They are immediately dismissed pending the outcome of the investigation. If that makes sense. And they may do referrals for sexual abuse, for example. There's going to refer a referral to the state police or the police in that law enforcement jurisdiction to a investigation. Right. At the completion of the investigation, again, 60 days in all cases. And so they have to make sure they do make a determination at that point when 60 days are up. Otherwise, it's automatically unfounded. Pennsylvania has systematic ways to look at the safety of a child. They look at threats in the child's home of origin. They look at the function of people within the home for risk. Right? All safety has risk issues, but risk, there's no safety. So there's no abuse when there's risk. So safety, they make a determination, is this child safe or unsafe? If they're unsafe, they're most likely going to petition the court to have that child removed as it's against the child's best interest to remain in that home where they are being harmed or there's potential for harm. They're looking at risk. There's systematic factors that they look at. Is this child at risk of harm? And again, they'll put supports and services in place to mitigate the risk of harm to that child. They make a determination. At the conclusion of their child abuse investigation, the county agency or the state regional office must provide the results of their determination to the state, right, through Childline. And they determine, was it unfounded, meaning there wasn't substantial evidence as per the law to substantiate this case. It doesn't always mean it didn't happen, or maybe it didn't, but there wasn't substantial evidence that the abuse occurred. If it's indicated, that means the investigation determined that there was substantial evidence based on medical evidence, CPS investigation, or perpetrator admission that the abuse did occur. If it's founded, that means there's been a judicial adjudication that the child was abused, right? Sexual abuse, it was a crime as well as it is still child abuse. or if the person was accepted into an accelerated rehabilitative disposition program, ARD, meaning most likely it was their first offense, right? But they're saying now that that could be a founded case against that alleged perpetrator, that person. If it's pending, we said there's 60 days. It may not reach the court's docket for 6 months. They would just send notification to Childline saying we need to pen this, pending the outcome of the court's decision on the case that was brought up for a criminal investigation. And we talked about GPSs. They're either valid or invalid. Okay. Last slide, people. You made the report. It was accepted as a CPS. The state says you have a right to know 2 things. And they will let you know this information within 3 days of the state's receipt, business days of their receipt of the results of the investigation by the investigative entity, Children and Youth, or the state regional office. And this information will include for you unfounded, indicated, or founded, and any services that were provided, housing, food, whatever it is, parenting skills, any services that were provided or arranged for that child based on your report of suspected abuse in order to protect the child. All right. Now we are done. Oh, I'm glad you all stayed. All right. So any questions you have, you can put it in the chat. Here's the thing. Post-training survey, it will be mailed to you, emailed to you from Eventbrite. You must complete that in order to get your certificate, right? And look out for it. Look in your junk mail or whatever, but you must complete that or you will not get your certificate. That's what they say.
She said, do I get a certificate?
Of your completion of the post-training survey. Any resources, you can go to the website. Any email questions, you can email it to training@pafsa.org. I don't know. Thanks, Travis. I don't know if anyone has Act 31, because now all my other previous stuff is gone, or Act 48. Well, who's that? Does anyone have health-related licensure or a teacher certificate?
Not
Going
on.
once, going twice. Okay. All right, so no one needs CEUs for this for health-related licensure. All right, that means I'm not going to give you any other extra information. You got it all. You are good to go, Brian. You are welcome. I'm glad. You all are free to roam about the cabin. Welcome, everybody. All right. And again, no Act 31 or Act 48 people. I don't think so. All right.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Now, officially, I'm going to sign everybody out.
Leaving. Leave webinar. All right. But my computer is this whole time has been telling me to reboot. So I'm gonna reboot this computer now. And then when it comes back online, I'll check a few emails and I gotta send the email. And I need to ask my old boss some shit about the last few set of tasks she had assigned for me before I actually switched over to my new role. So I'm gonna do that here shortly. Then after that, I ain't doing shit else. It's a free day for me. Fuck it. I'll be at work tomorrow. I'll do some real work tomorrow. Today, I did that. Go over some emails, send some emails, and then there's some cybersecurity training that they make us do. I'm listening to go over that little bit of training. That's about as much as they can get out of me. not doing. We almost finished, guys. Oh, my laptop's back up too. Let me do this. The name of this beat is called "Waiting for Summer." So I'm writing a song about waiting for summer because we hate the winter, but the green and shit already back out here. So yeah, it'd be a good little summer song.
Just different.
Yeah, going over some emails real quick. Here's the first line. Waiting for summer, going down to the beach in my Hummer. I wish I had a Hummer. I wish I had gas money to afford a Hummer. I wish I had Hummer money. In the beach in my Hummer, hey. What happened? Oh. Just a chill little beat though. We gonna get something from it. Man, we're almost finished. All you gotta do is this little section here. I will definitely have to say something about the beach though. Who don't want to go to the beach in the summertime? Get a little surf and turf. Get a little swim and trim. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Swim and trim, a little surf and turf. Hey, 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 hey. six bars. I need 2 more bars.
Hi, this is Jared Jerome. I'm calling you regarding some of your tax obligations. Jared Jerome.
All right, that's the background. We got that. And it only took us 17 days. It's all good. It take as long as it's gonna take, man. Now, if that other painting, the underpainting is dry, we'll swap these out and get that one done, and then come back to this one. I gotta go to this training first, though. Let's see. All right, let's do this. Using AI responsibly. Your new training.
There's no question that AI dramatically enhances productivity and unlocks new possibilities for innovation. But it also introduces modern concerns regarding data privacy, security, and ethical use. Therefore, every member of an organization plays a crucial role in using AI tools responsibly. Let's explore a few key concepts of what this means for you. Your responsibility begins with gaining a firm understanding of expectations and guidelines. For example, do you know which AI tools have been approved for use within your organization? Do you fully understand what types of data you can and cannot input into these systems? Do you understand the potential risks of sharing sensitive information with AI systems? Instead of just guessing and potentially creating security incidents, ask questions by reaching out to management or the relevant party at your organization. A simple question today can prevent a major compliance issue tomorrow. It's always best to avoid making assumptions about AI tools and the data they're allowed to access. Speaking of data, many AI systems, especially large language models, are not secure vaults for confidential information. Any inputs, also known as prompts, entered into AI might be stored, analyzed, or used to improve these systems. This means that whatever information you use to prompt AI could eventually become part of their learning model. Therefore, before inputting anything into an AI portal, ask yourself, would I be comfortable sharing this information with the public? You wouldn't, for example, post your national ID number or banking information on social media. Take that same approach when using AI tools for work. In general, never input the following information. confidential and personal data, whether it's yours or someone else's, strategic business information, such as marketing strategies or details about unreleased products, and intellectual property, like product designs and trade secrets. Those are just a few examples of information that could lead to data security and privacy issues if handled improperly. Beyond data security, it's also important to verify the outputs of AI. While tools like ChatGPT and others are excellent resources for research, there's always a chance their outputs are factually incorrect or misleading. This is commonly known as AI hallucination, which happens when AI systems are trained on outdated or inaccurate data. There are other reasons AI might hallucinate, but the key point is that it's your responsibility to independently verify what AI gives you by doing your own research. In fact, a fundamental part of using these tools responsibly is applying human judgment. You should view AI as a collaborator or assistant, not a replacement for your own knowledge and insight. It's also important to keep ethics in mind when using AI to help you write and edit content. Many of these systems are trained on vast amounts of publicly available information, which can include copyrighted works. Therefore, it could be unethical to use the generated content without making changes. Always make time for thorough content revisions using your unique perspective. Again, AI should not be viewed as a replacement for human creativity, but as an enhancement to it. Lastly, always adhere to your organization's policies regarding which AI tools you're allowed to use and how. These policies exist to protect data, assets, and people. By following them consistently, you help your organization comply with privacy regulations while still harnessing the powerful benefits of artificial intelligence. This shared commitment enables everyone to confidently explore and leverage AI's full potential in an ethical and responsible manner.
So now, module complete. There are no questions. That was it. The next one, I had 2 modules to do. Fish or treat. It's Smishing edition. The following trading content may contain the trade names and trademarks of various third parties, and if so, any such use is solely for illustration purposes only. Okay, I get it. I gotta read. Your mission: help Alex survive the trip. Alex is on a crucial business trip. As a project manager, they are recognized for their creative problem-solving skills used under pressure. But after a long flight, exhaustion is setting in. With logistics managed entirely by phone, Alex's device has become a primary target for attacks. In this module, you will advise Alex on cybersecurity best practices. Your job is to identify smishing red flags, distinguish between real messages and scams, choose the safest action for each scenario. Know your enemies. What is smishing? Smishing is a type of phishing that occurs through text messages. Scammers impersonating banks or delivery services via fake text or fake text to trick you into clicking malicious links or sharing private data, leading to identity theft, financial loss, and malware infection. Smishing can also serve as a initial stage of a social engineering attack. In this scenario, attackers gather phone numbers and email accounts, which are then used for subsequent phishing, voice phishing, or phishing attempts. Yeah, the voice shit is getting better now. Motherfuckers having somebody call you that sounds like somebody else. The trip begins. An airport full of alerts. The flight has landed, but the journey is far from over. Alex is tired, overwhelmed, and in a vulnerable state for bad actors. Select each button and dive into the story, the journey. Okay, what is this? Alex can feel exhausting setting in after the long flight. Before relaxing, Alex needs to navigate several common travel situations. Baggage claim. Alex is navigating the crowded baggage claim, trying to locate luggage and get things done in time. Airport shuttle. Alex receives several messages from known and unknown senders while searching for the correct shuttle. While navigating unfamiliar roads, Alex gets a few work-related texts that require attention. After settling in, Alex needs to verify his reservation receipt and explore room service options. Back at the airport, Alex manages notifications regarding the flight status and work updates. It's time to catch up. Alex is trying to understand what is priority and what could be a scam.
Okay, deep breath. Let's see. Bag should be a carousel 4. I got a text about the car rental. Oh, great. And a message from Carl about our bank account. Well, can't think about that right now. Just need to find my bags, get the car, and get out of here.
Do motherfuckers really stress that bad over little shit like that? Your role. This is where you come in. For Alex, the phone is a lifeline, but it's also a vulnerability. Scammers are counting on this phone text mix of professional pressure and personal anxiety to cause a misstep. Your job is to be Alex's second pair of eyes and a sharp security trainer. You will review each text message Alex receives, decide if it's a smishing attempt, a legitimate message. This is a great challenge. Your analysis of the scenarios will determine the security of this trip. Are you ready to help Alex deal with the digital noise? Pay attention to the red flags. On the next page, you'll review each text message Alex got during this journey. What if you choose the wrong option? Check out the red flags before moving on to the next message. Alex gets a text message while at the baggage claim. Airport lost and found. The item matching the description of your luggage tag has been located. To schedule pickup, please verify your identity here. SecureAdmins.com, lost and found. Airport lost and found the item. I'm gonna say that's a smish, bro. You just got there. You ain't even looked for your fucking baggage yet. If the shit is still coming off the plane on the baggage claim, how can you already get a message saying your bag is lost? You ain't even been looking for it for a long time. And plus, if you're at the airport, it would say the link would be Delta Airlines such and such, not SecureAdmins.com. Red flag, airport lost and found. Airport lost and found is a generic name. Legitimate systems should always identify themselves. Alex should always check the airport's official channels. Exactly, duh. Please verify your identity here. Yeah, this message asks for sensitive data via a unverified link. Cybercriminals use this request to steal username and passwords before the victim realizes the scenario is fake. The website looks malicious and might not be the airport's official website. For Alex's safety, always verify the airport's official channel before checking on. This is like common dumb. Like if somebody would fall for this shit, I don't know. How many scenarios are there? Damn, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alex's bag finally appeared on the carousel. After they pick it up, another text arrives from another unknown sender. Airport Wi-Fi. Welcome. Your free session is ready. Please accept our terms and conditions to connect. Once again, it don't say nothing about the airport name or nothing like that. Yeah, public Wi-Fi browsers pop up. No. Next. While waiting for the shuttle, Alex decides to take a look at Carol's message. Carl. Hey babe, got a weird alert from our bank earlier. Talked to our manager and solved everything already. If you get any notifications, please ignore. I miss you. Stay safe. This is two dudes. And y'all work together? On their way to the car rental agency, Alex remembered that they had received a text earlier. Oh, that's why they keep saying they instead of he. Is this some weird, like, I don't know. It's yeah, I'm worried about the wrong shit on this thing, but the character is a dude named Alex, but they don't say Alex is a he. They just keep saying they. So Alex is a them, they. And the one message he got so far was from Carl, who seems like they work together, but Carl called him babe and said, stay safe, I miss you. Why do I need this in my AI cybersecurity training? Anyway, rental auto alert. Is the training made up via AI? Hell if I know. Yeah, bro, doing security training, man. Rental auto alert. The car you received is unavailable. As a courtesy, we're offering a complimentary luxury sedan upgrade. To accept, please confirm your license and credit card details within 10 minutes, or your reservation will be canceled. OurAutoInsurance.com. This is another smish. You're trying to get me to do some shit in a hurry on some link that don't got the name of a business on it. Before starting to drive, Alex receives a text message from an unknown number. Hey, Alex, it's Sam. Had to change my number for this trip. I lost my wallet and can't get out of the airport. Could you transfer me just enough for me to get a taxi? I'll pay you back ASAP. I had to change my number for this trip. Why? I lost my wallet. But you're not, there's no link in there, and it's asking a question. It's not like, oh, send me money now. I think it's legit. Nope, you didn't spot the red flag. Shit. Well, this is the thing. Well, this could be a social engineering attack. If Alex knows Sam, but the number is unknown, Alex should call Sam at their known number to confirm the meeting change. Duh, that's what you doesn't. It didn't seem like a fish, but I would be like, okay, where are you at? Or I would call that number. I would call the new number and talk to Sam or some shit. Like before you can really determine like if that was bad or not. Alex pulls up to the hotel. An official looking message with the hotel's logo arrives. Marriott. Welcome to the Marriott, Alex. Your room is ready. For a contactless experience, you can complete your check-in and get your mobile key in our app. Download it from our official app store. That's legit. From the Marriott, and they're telling you to go to the Apple store and download the shit. Finally, in the hotel room, Alex gets a text offering a tempting deal. Hotel services. As a welcoming gift, enjoy 50% off your first room service order. View your exclusive menu and place your order here. Marriott Rewards. The only thing is, the Marriott logo is different. I'm gonna say this is a fish. Yep. Alex turns on the TV to relax and logs into a personal streaming account. An immediate SMS arrives. It looks like the Netflix logo, but not really. Streaming alert. We've detected a new sign in from your location. Was this you? Tap the response. Netflixteam.com. Yes or no? I think that's legit. It's legit. No, it's not legit. While the alert is relevant, the method isn't typical of legitimate organizations. Was this you? Tap the response. Cyber criminals may try to create a sense of urgency to trick Alex into revealing sensitive information without verifying it first. This link domain doesn't reflect the official organization's domain. Alex must verify immediately using the streaming's official app or website. Oh, I see that now. Netflixteam.com/yes. Well, they got me on that one. Just as Alex's room service arrives, a message buzzes. IT support. A critical system patch requires a mandatory password reset within an hour. Please log in to update your username and password now. I'm not doing that one. That's a smish. We done. It's the middle of the day while getting ready for a busy day at work. Alex's phone buzzes with a calendar notification. It says team calendar reminder project meeting at 9 a.m. at Client HQ conference room 3. Urgent. Yeah, when the shit is too urgent. He's doing a entire background for you call any of these numbers. I think that's legitimate. Okay, we got that. The meeting was a success. Alex is at the airport again, waiting for his flight home. A new text arrives from an unknown number. United Airlines flight UA482 is delayed by 2 hours due to technical issues. For more information and rebooking options, visit infoflight.com. No. Once again, you don't have your business name in there. Alex just landed back home, exhausted but relieved. A message about paperwork pops up. from an unknown contact, finance department. Welcome back. To ensure timely reimbursement, please submit your expense report for your trip within 24 hours. Use our mobile portal. Nope. The next morning, Alex is having breakfast while watching some videos on their phone. Another unknown sender, Alex, is John, CEO. Right there, is CEO in quotations. Like if I work for the company and I should know who the CEO is. Why are you going to tell me you're the CEO? Just that first, Alex, it's John, the CEO. That's like my boss texting me like, Travis, this is Jennifer, the reentry manager. I know what your title is. Why you had to say that? I am at a conference and need you to do something for me urgently. Are you free? No, I'm not. I'm not even. I'm deleting and blocking his number. Alice is catching up on work. They're sorting through a flooded inbox and trying to get organized when a text message pings on their phone from another unknown summer. IT security again. Uh, as a final security measure after your trip, we will scan your phone device for any potential threats. Please install our security agent to begin. I'm not doing that. Alex steps away from their desk to fill up their water bottle, taking a quick break from the mountain of post-trip emails. The phone buzzes in their pocket. He got this dude name saved as Big Boss. Welcome back, Alex. Hope the trip went well. Let's connect tomorrow to debrief. That's legit. Okay, 80%. You made it. Alex's trip was a success thanks to your sharp eye and careful analysis. In the real world, you're on your own. When a suspicious message arrives, remember these actions: pause, verify, report. Don't rush into a decision don't rush into a decision because you're in a hurry. Urgency is the attacker's best tool. Don't trust the information in your message. Check with any official sources through a trusted communication method. If you get a suspicious text, report it according to the organization's policies. This helps protect everyone. Complete training. And that's that. Ay, 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 ay. I feel like I need another water. Damn, I never cleaned them brushes out. Them brushes that's been sitting in there. Guys, I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick, grab a water, and we gotta clean these brushes up. He'd be paranoid as hell with them such ass texts. Nobody called him. Nobody ever called him. Not even his boyfriend. Boyfriend just texts. This motherfucker hacking the soda machine, goddamn. I put my phone there. This thing probably need to go in the charger right now. All right, what else I need to do? I need to email. I need to email somebody. Somebody, something. Slide it back a little bit. Oh, emails. something else I needed to do. I can't think of what the hell it was now. I gotta do this survey after that thing just now. What's something else I gotta do? These some tough questions. I don't know if I just probably wasn't paying enough attention. All right, did my survey. They trying to say same-sex couples are idiots. I'm like, oh damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Technically, I still have an hour and a half of work, but I don't have an hour and a half of stuff to do. Sit here and wait to see if somebody responds to the emails I just dropped you guys. See how that goes. Other than that, we are at a stopping point with this piece. All right, damn. Still never washed these brushes out. Let me do that. Can I flip this? I'll do this side. I think I got the hang of that fabric way too late. Like the bottom part here looks way better than any of that up there. I think that's because of the lighting on it too. Hopefully with the second detail layer, I'll be able to like boost up that contrast. So it kind of looks flat. It just looks really, really flat to me. And I don't like it. I don't like this whole part right here just looks flat. Like it looks flat as shit. But here, starting to get some of the curves of the fabric and the wrinkles in there. But I'm definitely gonna have to focus on this whole section right here next time around. Next time. Yeah, I hope so, bro. Just keep your fingers crossed. Hope the next pass will bring some more life to that shit. Now I'm thinking if I should do the wine glass next or the skin tone. I might do this. I might do the skin tone next. Save that wine glass for last. I do like it though. It's coming along. Definitely coming along. All right. Oh, my fucking back. God damn. Oh. Somebody told me I probably need to go back to my chiropractor for a couple weeks. Man, this thing is so. I keep forgetting how heavy this is with the extra wood I added to this thing. Y'all pulling this off the wall. I was like, wait a minute. I mean, that thing has some weight to it. I really do want to do all my canvases like this now. Give it the super thick edge. I don't know. It just makes it feel substantial. I could have definitely sanded the top a little bit better. The sides don't look too bad. That top, I'm sure they look ugly. I say though, the sides really what matter. Oh, forgot I ain't even paint the bottom. All right. Let me see first, because if this thing is not ready, we'll just put our foot paint back up here. Work on some skin tones. Oh my god, I'm scraping the ceiling. My easel too big. I got that big easel, boy. My easel extend. My easel got that extension on it. That shit long. It's so long it be dragging the roof. My easel so long. Yeah, the beefier frames, definitely, bro. That's just expensive as shit, though. I just make my own. It was definitely cheaper for me to do this instead of, well, I don't know. I don't know now because the wood, I might just have to stretch my own canvas. Still haven't done it before, but I mean, I got the tools. I got the tools I need to do it. Doesn't seem super hard either. So this orange was taking a while to dry. Feels like we're all good now, though. I feel like we're good to go. Yeah. So we did a first detail layer on his face. So now we need to do a first detail layer on his shirt. You do a detail layer on his shirt. Do I not put this picture in my favorites file? I guess not. Or is it not on this? Is it not on this iPad? Um, This image is, I don't know. Thought I had a different one, but that shit seems blurry as hell. Let's see if I can get a kind of fix this picture a little bit. Come on, AI. Take that long to make a picture? Ten times better. Thank you, AI. You're the best. Um, all right. Mm. I know that's right. Yeah. And plus on top of that, you get to make whatever size canvas you want. Going to the art supply stores, there's like standard size canvases, and they don't normally deviate a lot. So all of my canvases are always basically the same fucking size, which can make the art look kind of boring sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. All right, so I'm gonna have to clean this whole thing off. I'll be ready for lunch in a minute. I ate a, damn, that's a lot of white paint. Mm-hmm. big long rectangles. Well, everybody, it's Friday Eve. You know, we're almost to the end of another work week. I wonder how can I save this for a little bit longer. If I were to, I could probably do something like this maybe. Yes. Might work. Starting to get warm in here. I think we got a few more cold snaps coming up, and then we might be good for the rest of the year. Hopefully. Oh, it's in my fucking hand, dumbass. Yeah. All right, that's a lot better. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Oh wow. What is that? What are you doing in here, bro? Where did you come from? And what are you? You are Is that a ant or a beetle? Oh, it's definitely an ant. Damn, little bro. Sorry you had to come in here, right? You know? What you doing? Look how big this motherfucker is. Where you been at, bro? Slow your ass down, man. It's that time. Like I said, I don't normally have to spray this early. I guess I gotta get the powders out. I use like it looks just like powder, just like this white powder that you put around the base around your house and keep the ants and bugs out. Works pretty good too. So that's the second ant I've already seen, and we just started to get warm weather. So these motherfuckers are out. And that bad boy is big as shit. Like, well, it's a nice day. I might do that shit later this afternoon. Go out there and put some poison down. So what I want to do at least is get some colors on the palette, maybe. I don't know. What time is it? I said I didn't meal prep this week. It's like my lunch time. I need to go eat and start cooking. Nobody wanna. Still ain't seen no corn yet. Still ain't seen corn. So I'll go to the grocery on Saturday. See if they got some corn in. If not, oh well. Cream corn it is. All right, should I even put paints on the palette now? I don't know, guys. How long we been in here? We're almost at 3 hours. The palette is clean. The thinner is clean. Brushes are clean. Flip that over. We got clean towel. Canned corn. Not candy corn either, just canned corn. I ain't gonna lie, guys. I'm hungry. I gotta go find something to eat. I was gonna try to do a little something with this shirt, but we'll do that maybe later this evening. I don't know. I started writing that new song. That shit might hold me over for the rest of the day. We did get some painting done though today, guys. Multitasking. I was at work today. Was able to complete my mandated reporter training. Did some cybersecurity training. Replied to some emails and sent some emails. And all along, we were actually slowly working on finishing the first detail layer of one of our next pieces. So we got a lot done today. I feel accomplished. But there's always a chance I can come back up here later. If I get this song written today and sounding good, oh, you know I'm gonna come up here and bump that shit. But if not, I should be back to my normal routine tomorrow. Going to the office, got to do my prison class, and then it's the weekend. So I'm still working on breakfast. And yeah, it's 1:30 for me. If I don't see you guys in the studio or in the game stream later today, I'll definitely catch you guys tomorrow. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of the day, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace. We're out here.